Hello everyone, this is Mike History. So, I did make a video not too long ago saying that I would be making a video soon that would be in a new style. Just so you know, this is not the video that I'm making in that style. This is a very impromptu video that I made, and obviously you know why that is. Alright, so now let's get to the point. So we all know who Jeffrey Epstein is, and in light of the recent news surrounding him, I think it is important to understand a little bit about who this man was. So he was born on the 20th of January 1953 in New York City to Jewish parents. He became a teacher at age 21, but was already showing inappropriate behavior towards underage female students at the time, paying them constant attention and even showing up at a party where young people were drinking, according to a former student. Other former students also saw him flirting with female students. So, off to a good start. He then got to know Alan Greenberg, a chairman of the executive committee of the Bear Stearns companies from Wichita and of Jewish origin. Greenberg offered him a job at Bear Stearns, and he became an assistant to a floor trader. He became an options trader and advised the bank's wealthiest clients, such as Edgar Bronfman Sr., a Jewish businessman from Montreal, on strategies to avoid paying taxes. In the 1980s, he began working as an intelligence agent, and one of his clients was Adnan Khashoggi, a Saudi Arabian businessman responsible for transferring American weapons from Israel to Iran in the Iran-Contra affair. Epstein was also rumored to be associated with intelligence. Journalists Dylan Howard, Melissa Cronin, and James Robertson linked Epstein to the Israeli Mossad, mostly relying on the former Israeli intelligence officer Eri Ben-Menashe. According to him, Epstein's activities as a spy served to gather compromising material on powerful people in order to blackmail them. There is also a possible connection to the Mossad via Ghislaine Maxwell, whose father, Robert Maxwell, is said to have had contacts with the Mossad. Now, he also befriended fellow Jewish New Yorker Stephen Hoffenberg, who was a fraudster and who hired him for Towers Financial Corporation. In 1993, Towers Financial Corporation imploded when it was exposed as one of the biggest Ponzi schemes in American history, losing over $450 million of its investors' money. In court documents, Hoffenberg claimed that Epstein was intimately involved in the scheme. Epstein left the company by 1989 and was never charged for involvement in the massive investor fraud committed. It is unknown if Epstein acquired any stolen funds from the Towers Ponzi scheme. Epstein then founded his own financial management firm with his only known publicly known billionaire client, who was Les Wexner, a Jewish businessman from Dayton, Ohio, and soon became his financial advisor and right-hand man. Epstein also attended Victoria's Secret fashion shows and hosted the models at his New York City home, as well as helping aspiring models get work with the company. In 1996, Epstein changed the name of his firm to the Financial Trust Company, and to avoid paying taxes, based it on the island of St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands. By relocating to the U.S. Virgin Islands, Epstein was able to reduce federal income taxes by 90% while remaining part of the United States banking system. In 2003, Epstein bid to acquire the New York Magazine. Other bidders included advertising executive Donny Deutsch, investor Nelson Peltz, media mogul and film producer Harvey Weinstein. But in the end, it was bought by Wall Street investment banker Bruce Wasserstein, and all of these were part of New York's Jewish community. By the time that the Bear Stearns fund began to fail in May 2007, Epstein had begun to negotiate a plea deal with the U.S. Attorney's Office concerning imminent charges for sex with minors. In August 2007, a month after the fund collapsed, the U.S. Attorney in Miami, Alexander Acosta, entered into direct discussions about the plea agreement. Acosta brokered a very lenient deal, according to him, because he had been ordered by higher government officials who told him that Epstein was an individual of importance to the government. As part of the negotiations, Epstein provided unspecified information to the Florida federal prosecutors for a more lenient sentence, and was supposedly an unnamed key witness for the New York federal prosecutors in their unsuccessful June 2008 criminal case against the two managers of the failed Bear Stearns hedge fund. Epstein invested in the startup Reporty Homeland Security, which was connected with Israel's defense industry. It was headed by the former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak, who was also at one time the defense minister and chief of staff of the Israeli Defense Forces. Epstein and Barak were close, and Epstein offered him lodging at one of his apartment units in New York. Epstein also had experience with Israel's research and military sector. Epstein installed concealed cameras in numerous places on his properties to record powerful people having sex with underage girls for criminal purposes such as blackmail. Ghislaine Maxwell, a British socialite of Jewish origin and Epstein's long-term girlfriend and companion, told a friend that Epstein's private island in the Virgin Islands was completely wired for video, and the friend believed that Maxwell and Epstein were videotaping everyone on the island as an insurance policy. When police raided his Palm Beach residence in 2006, 2 hidden cameras were discovered in his home. It was also reported that Epstein's mansion in New York was wired extensively with a video surveillance system. Maria Farmer, an artist who worked for Epstein in 1996, noted that Epstein showed her a media room in the New York mansion where there were individuals monitoring the cameras throughout the house. Epstein would lend girls to powerful people to ingratiate himself with them and also to gain possible blackmail information. According to the Department of Justice, he kept CDs locked in a safe in his New York mansion with handwritten labels that included the description, "Young name plus name." Epstein implied that he had blackmail material when he told a New York Times reporter in 2008 off the record that he had dirt on powerful people, including information about their sexual proclivities and recreational drug use. On June 30th, 2008, after Epstein pleaded guilty to a state charge of procuring a minor for prostitution, he was sentenced to 18 months in prison. While most convicted sex offenders in Florida are sent to state prison, Epstein was instead housed in a private wing of the Palm Beach County Stockade, and according to the sheriff's office was after under 4 months allowed to leave the jail on so-called work release for up to 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. So quite the punishment there, huh? This contravened the sheriff's own policies requiring a maximum remaining sentence of 10 months and making sex offenders ineligible for the privilege. He was allowed to come and go outside of specified release hours. Epstein served almost 13 months before being released on the 22nd of July 2009 for a year of probation on house arrest until August 2010. While on probation, he was allowed numerous trips on his corporate jet to his residences in New York and the U.S. Virgin Islands. He was allowed long shopping trips and walks around Palm Beach, supposedly for exercise. After a contested hearing in January 2011 and an appeal, he stayed registered in New York State as a level 3, so in other words, high risk of repeat offense sex offender, which is a lifelong designation. Though Epstein had been a level 3 registered sex offender in New York since 2010, the New York Police Department never enforced the 90-day regulation, even though noncompliance is a felony. Since 2008, 21 lawsuits have been filed against this pervert, so I'm not going to get into the details of all of them, since they basically state what we all know, which is that he was a pedophile and a sex trafficker. On the 6th of July 2019, Epstein was arrested by the FBI NYPD Crimes Against Children Task Force at Teterboro Airport in New Jersey on sex trafficking charges. He was jailed at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York City. The search of his townhouse turned up evidence of sex trafficking and also found hundreds and perhaps thousands of sexually suggestive photographs of full or partially nude females. Some of the photos were confirmed as those of underage females. In a locked safe, CDs were found with handwritten labels including the descriptions "Young name plus name," "Miscellaneous nudes 1," and "Girl pics nude." Also found in the safe were $70,000 in cash, 48 diamonds, and a fake Austrian passport which had expired in 1987 that had Epstein's photo but another person's name. The passport had numerous entrance and exit stamps, including entrance stamps that showed the use of the passport to enter France, Spain, the United Kingdom, and Saudi Arabia in the 1980s. According to his attorneys, Epstein had been advised to acquire the passport because, as an affluent member of the Jewish faith, he was in danger of being kidnapped while traveling abroad. On the 8th of July, prosecutors with the Public Corruption Unit of the Southern District of New York charged him with sex trafficking and conspiracy to traffic minors for sex. A grand jury indictment alleges that dozens of underage girls were brought into Epstein's mansions for sexual encounters. Now, although Epstein is of course a disgusting pervert, it is important to remember that he isn't alone in his crimes. He was close friends with Prince Andrew, Duke of York, and attended parties with former U.S. President and notable adulterers Bill Clinton and Donald Trump, TV host George Stephanopoulos, journalist Katie Couric, filmmaker, actor, and comedian Alan Konigsberg, better known as Woody Allen, model Naomi Campbell, physicist and cosmologist Stephen Hawking, and sex offender Harvey Weinstein. He was also in contact with Fox News owner Rupert Murdoch, businessman and politician Michael Bloomberg, business magnate Richard Branson, actor and comedian Alec Baldwin, and singer and dancer Michael Jackson. His famous black books included Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak, British Prime Minister Tony Blair, and Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. He also had connections with Bill Gates. In 2009, Epstein's brother Mark claimed Trump had flown on Epstein's plane at least once. He later told the Washington Post that Trump flew numerous times on Epstein's airplane, and although Mark was present on only one of those flights. In September 2002, Epstein flew Bill Clinton and actors Kevin Spacey and Chris Tucker to Africa in his jet. Flight records obtained in 2016 show Bill Clinton flew 27 times to at least a dozen international locations. In 2002, a spokesman of Bill Clinton praised Epstein as a committed philanthropist with insights and generosity. At the time, Epstein was on the board of Rockefeller University, a member of the Trilateral Commission and the Council on Foreign Relations, and was a major donor to Harvard University. Epstein visited the White House while Clinton was president on 4 known occasions. In 1993, he went to a donor event at the White House with his companion, Ghislaine Maxwell. According to various sources, beginning in the early 2000s, Epstein developed a strong interest in supposedly improving the human race through genetic engineering and artificial intelligence, including using his own sperm. He addressed the scientific community at various events and occasions and communicated his fascination with eugenics. It was reported in August 2019 that Epstein had planned to seed the human race with his DNA by impregnating up to 20 women at a time using his New Mexico compound as a baby ranch where mothers would give birth to his offspring. He was an advocate of cryonics and his idiosyncratic version of transhumanism, and it said that he intended to have his penis and his head frozen. Luckily, that wouldn't happen since he would be found dead on the 10th of August 2019. The night before, Epstein's cellmate was transferred out, but no one took his place. Later in the evening, contrary to the jail's normal procedure, Epstein was not checked every 30 minutes. The 2 guards who were assigned to check his jail unit that night mysteriously fell asleep and did not check on him for about 3 hours, and they falsified related records. And also, 2 cameras just happened to malfunction that night. Now, of course, I'm not saying Epstein didn't kill himself, but he didn't kill himself. Anyways, I'm not going to ask if you enjoyed that video, but I would say please give a like and a subscribe if you at least learned something new. And next time I will be going back to a more historical topic. See you there.